Welcome to How I AI, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. Hi, I'm Brooke Raymer, your host and guide on this journey of the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How I AI is a community, a space where curious minds like you come together, share ideas, and I'll also bring you exclusive discounts and insider resources because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. And the sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities will unlock. Hello and welcome back. And if you're new here, you're in for a treat. I have a very special behind-the-scenes episode today. I'm giving you an inside look of the event hosted during New York Tech Week this past June called She Ships. It was an in-person workshop that I put together with my co-host Marian Bacol. We created it for women who have ideas, felt curious about building with vibe coding tools for the first time, or simply just wanted a supportive space to explore. So for today, you'll hear the live room, feel the energy, and see what it feels like to step into one of our in-person events. Some women came in with a very clear concept, while others had never built anything like this before. And our goal really was simple, to help women get clear, create something tangible, and leave knowing they were capable of building with vibe coding tools. So for today's episode, you'll hear us talk honestly about career pivots, being a beginner again. We'll walk you through real examples of women turning live experiences into useful products. And you'll get to watch as we move our attendees from step by step of creating an actual first vision using Claude and Lovable. I help everyone get clear on what they're uniquely qualified to create, who their product is for, and why it matters. If you've listened to this podcast, you might have already been familiar with my co-host, Marian. She's the tech founder of Somare. She's also a Lovable ambassador and an incredible community builder. You'll hear her share a bit more about her own path into becoming a tech founder and her practical process for clarifying, building, and shipping without waiting for everything to be perfect. For this replay, we actually skipped over an hour of Q&A in the end. For that full experience, you'll have to catch us in person for our next event. All right, let's go behind the scenes of She Ships during New York Tech Week.
Welcome to She Ships. My name is Marian Bacol and my co-host Brooke here. We're really excited to host this live build session. But before we start anything else, I'd love to just get us grounded into this space, into this moment. Because especially with Tech Week, there is so much going on. I invite you to just be present. And we're going to do 3 rounds of really quick breath work. So inhale twice with your mouth, and you also exhale with your mouth. Inhale, big sip. In just those 3 breaths, the psychological, physiological side can actually help shift your brain functions from your amygdala, which is where anxiety lives and all this stress. It's the survival brain. It shifts to your prefrontal cortex and is more for decision making. You're more calmer, you're more present. So thank you so much for being here, for being present. We really wanted to do this for women because I'm just going to be straight out. I think women are the best creators. We build so much with intention, with heart, and I think we just want more women to not only build, create, but make money. And I really want a matriarchal takeover, but but no, I really truly believe after working with women for almost 20 years, women just build with more intention. And studies have shown that when women succeed, the community succeeds because we reinvest it back into our community. So this is really a passion project. I have my own startup. I'm a Lovable ambassador, but we decided to put this together because we truly believe in having a space where women can build, create, learn, and also just synergize with each other. So I'm going to have Brooke say a few words.
Hi everyone, I'm Brooke. I'm going to run you all through a clarity exercise, something that I love to work with individuals. In my personal network, I've seen a really big need for what I'm going to walk you through today. And then we're going to vibe code with Marian soon. And then there's going to be an option for us to share and showcase, completely optional, no pressure. If you build something you're really excited about, we'll be able to do a little show and tell. And then I know sometimes we like to keep the conversations going, so we're going to do a little off-campus at Uli and Flatiron. If you make a new friend today, you want to keep it going. So we obviously are all here today. It's Tech Week, and AI is on everyone's mind right now. And it might be giving you a very vulnerable feeling of being a newcomer for the first time in a long time. Maybe some of us have been in our careers for 10 years, 15 years, and now we have to start all over again. Founders and creatives are now discovering that they can be the leader of their destiny. They can build for the first time. And what I want to walk you through today is a really important first step, because we don't want to just be diving in and haphazardly just building things just to say, oh, I made this with AI. Not only is it like super wasteful for the environment, but it's going to put you in a space where it's not sustainable. So that's really the meaning behind what I'm going to show you today. And for those of you who don't know me, my name's Brooke. If we're not connected, please reach out. And a little bit about me, I have a background in marketing and events. I find myself really in the strategic space right now, supporting everybody from personal development to AI adoption. And personally, I've pivoted my career many times. I've moved from working in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. I lived here in New York for a little over 4 years, working in tech SaaS and client onboarding. I live in Miami now. I've been there for about 4 years. And I worked in hospitality and hotels, and I found myself in the last year and a half really being lit up by this opportunity that AI brings us. It's so expansive, especially as women, when we crave independent flexibility in our work and our lifestyles. So I have an AI podcast. I'm the original host of How AI. I started it a little over a year and a half ago. I have over 55 interviews with founders and entrepreneurs, and it's really getting to the root of their discoverability and their leverage of this technology. It's storytelling at its root and very empowering, and I highly recommend you jump into that. And it's been a really fun way for me to learn about AI as well. So the moral of this arc, I don't know if anybody sees themselves in my story of what the heck, like moving all around, all these different industries, pivoting every 2 years. It's like, I'm bored, let's do something else. Does anybody relate to that? Yeah, but we have such an advantage right now with AI because we can start fresh. You might be really craving new ways to make passive income. You might be finding yourself as what I call the accidental founder. A lot of people are accidentally vibe coding, and months go by and all of a sudden 500 mothers are using their app because they found a really important niche in the market. Really exciting times. So I can really feel like we're standing at the edge of something new, and that's really where I love to support, especially other women. So I want to ask you all today, maybe you came in with an idea, maybe you have no idea what you want to create, but I really want to ask, what are you building from? We can build anything at the drop of a hat. How many of you, for a show of hands, have used Lovable yet before today? Okay, maybe, what about something else like Cursor, Bolt, AI Studio, Google? And anybody in the room has never really done this before. Maybe you like created an account, but you've never really intentionally learned how to vibe code. Awesome, love to see that, love to see that. You're in the right place. And the bottleneck isn't we don't have access, it's not even affordability, the resources are there now. It's really the clarity and the intention that we start with. It's not about knowing how to build, it's knowing what you're building from. And you might have heard the term of a ship and its compass, and if you're going the wrong way, the longer you go, the more out of alignment you are. So it's really about direction is what I'm getting at. So before you ship anything tonight, or even if you want to journal on this weekend and this evening, I challenge you to really sit down and think about not just what can I make or how can I use AI, but what am I uniquely qualified to create? What makes this mine to build? Why this? Why me? And why now? Some of these ideas that you come up with might be things that you're living through right now or have lived through in the past. It might be a problem in your local community you keep noticing. It might be a community or a group or a subgroup or a culture that you are really passionate and carefully connected to. You might be coming up to a personal problem that you just want to personally solve. Maybe you have a problem in your own business or you work for other people and there's just ways to do something better. Or it could be something fun. I think that that's a really cool way to start exploring AI for the first time, is just to have fun with it. You know, it can be a really cool way to connect with children, make new music, or come up with ways where they can interact and be present with you. Use Sonos is a really cool one to do stuff like that. But that's gonna really put you in such a competitive advantage, because there's a lot of copycats out there for one. I'll go over an example about that soon. But you want to be really focusing on what it is that you're creating that another AI or another person that knows how to create something can just mirror and copy you right off the bat. And you want to feel very lit up, energized, and connected, because when you create something that is making meaningful difference and a true impact, it's going to take a lot of your energy. It's going to take a lot of your focus. So this is what I like to really walk people through before they're creating. And that's why I created this really cool framework. This really just came out of the idea because a lot of people were coming up to me in my personal network. I want to switch up my work. I'm feeling called to do more meaningful things. How can I use AI to get me different places? I want more flexibility. So all these people are coming to me and they're like, what can I do? What should I do? And they know that I've jumped around quite a bit. And so they're like, wow, it's such a vulnerable space to be new, to maybe have to demote your title if you're in a new industry. And so I put up this product called the AI Identity Method. And what it is, it's a clarity framework so you can build what fits you. And maybe you've seen a Venn diagram before. There's a lot of really cool methodologies that put things like this together. And it's at the center is going to be your product idea. And you're going to be blending a lot of your life experience, your personal passion, your unique skills, because what comes easy for us might not come easy to other people. And AI is really just going to be the fire hose and the amplifier. You know, a lot of people start with the AI and they're leaving out the rest. And AI is just a fire hose onto whatever it is that you want to be excelling and scaling. But if all the other stuff isn't connected, and I'm sure Marian will go more into design thinking soon before actually building product, but if you have a broken system, or if you aren't connecting to the right audience, or maybe there's no really target demo for what it is that you want to give and create or produce, then it's not going to work out. So this is a really cool thing I put together. I'm going to run through just a couple case studies because I think case studies are fun. One second. So this is a woman named Maya. She was actually a guest on my podcast like pretty early on. She just reached out to me and wanted to be on the show, and I, take calls with everybody who goes on my podcast for just vibe check, right? And she was so awesome. She is a mother of two, occupational therapist. She had 2 children that both had very severe food allergies. And by nature of her background, she's used to tracking and logging data and taking care of patients, very attention to detail. She didn't go into this thinking, I want to be a tech founder. But she needed something for her own tracking and management. So she used actually an app called Bolt.new, and she made this product called Map My Milk. And she started reaching out to Reddit groups, Facebook groups, really connecting to her target audience and connecting to other women. And she saw such a huge gap in the market and a need for this. So many women were struggling with breastfeeding and tracking because You can imagine all the allergies that there are today. There's so many. And the thing about Maya is she had about like 500 women on her app in just a handful of months. I don't know, I haven't checked in with her. It's probably double that by now. And she's the one that a gentleman just kind of created a very similar tracker to try to copy what she was doing and take over the market. And copycats came on, her socials trying to steal her community. But she was so connected, and she was a woman who breastfed, and she was the one who was connecting to these communities. She knew firsthand what to experience. She knew great developments to add in that the women truly needed because she lived it. And not only that, when these competitors came into the market, it didn't discourage her because she was so connected to her why and her passion that it kept her and it fueled her to continue going. Another example I love to share is Miss Marian, who we'll hear about later today. And with her experience with Somare, she started, not thinking that she was going to be a tech founder. I'm sure if you asked her 10, 15 years ago, what's your life goal? Do you want to be a tech founder? She probably would have said no. But her healing journey and everything that she experienced throughout her life, which I'm sure she'll be going into more depthly here in just a minute when we start to build, background in community facilitating, really understanding as a high achiever herself and all the entrepreneurial spirit that she's had her whole life with her businesses, what it means to be burnt out. And she's a woman, obviously, and so she's very connected to her cycle, and she found that really affected her nervous system, and she was able to integrate all of these things as if her lived experience, and she's very passionate about what she does and what she's created. And so you can really just kind of connect the dots here, your why, your skills, how AI is going to make you go further. For example, she created her app on Lovable, which we're going to learn about more today. And she's very connected to the client. She's already generating revenue in less than a year on her app, which is just incredible. You really have to be connected to the clients and know that there's like a market for it, because people are going to want to part with their cold hard cash for what it is that you're providing for them. And she knows that that's a really uniquely qualified market because she's lived it. Because we don't want to just be creating things that there's no market for. So really being tuned into your client, and again, that passion that she has to propel it forward. And she's working day in and day out. She's gone to every tech week in every city this year, connecting with her community because she's so fueled by what it is that she does. So in conclusion, I am asking you to really reflect on what it is that you're here to ship today. There's a few different ways that you can be building. For example, if you're wanting to explain an idea, you can build just a landing page or a sales page. If you're wanting to qualify people, if you're creating an idea or just want to get feedback, kind of like a focus group, you can build a quiz or an intake form to have people really in a fun way move through what it is that they're doing. And if you need to build a proof of concept and make sure that there is an actual market demand for what it is that you're creating, you can build out a simple prototype for an app. So for example, bringing it all together, what people were coming to me for, how can I use AI? I want to pivot, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what I really want to create, but I want you to help me. So I, back in November, created on Google AI Studio a really cool way to bring people through this Venn diagram process and made it within a couple of days and fine-tuned it. So if you all want to check it out, I'll give you the link to play around with it tonight. It walks you through this clarity exercise, asks you a bunch of questions. I always encourage you all to journal. Anytime we're using AI to give you feedback, always tune in with yourself first. Use AI as kind of like an amplifier for what it is that you know intuitively, and maybe to just kind of like fact check things, do a lot of research. I always like to say that when working with AI. So if you want to work with me, this is what I do and love, is more around personal development, supporting women and those that are in the Kickstarter phase of their business, playing around with ideas, needing more support around clarity. A lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I know I need AI, but they don't really understand, what AI can actually do for them and to maximize their ROI and figuring out where's the right place, because AI doesn't belong everywhere. It especially doesn't belong in where your secret sauce is and what is uniquely yours to put out there. So if you grab the QR code here, you'll be able to do that full AI identity experience. It should take you like 10-15 minutes. It's really fun. I love quizzes. I think they're really cool to just go through, and it gives you 3 paths of a product that you can put together, and you reflect back on your life experience, and it gives you back some ideas. And it really can just be a springboard and a starting place for you to get creative of what it is that only you can really create with AI. So that's it for me. I want to just say thank you for listening to this little clarity experience and exercise. And this is just a starting lens for everything that we're going to be doing tonight. I'm super excited to see what all of you are going to be building with Marian coming up. You just need a starting point with enough truth in it to build a first version. So good luck. I hope this really lit you up in a really exciting way. I'm excited to see everything that you all create tonight, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Brooke. All right, so what Brooke mentioned, I never wanted to be a tech founder. I actually started in tech almost 20 years ago. I'm a lot older than I look. And I did marketing for tech, for a partner for one of the biggest Microsoft companies. I worked in corporate, climbed up the corporate ladder, was in marketing. And in 2014, and I checked off all the boxes. I am the eldest daughter of Asian immigrants, so I was an overachiever. So the burnout was real, but I didn't know before that there was a term for being a high-functioning depressive. I was also a high-functioning alcoholic, because professionally, everything was beautiful and great and curated. Personally, I just pushed myself even more because I didn't want to address a lot of things internally. So in 2014, on the peak of my career, I actually grew up in LA, in California. I overdosed and had a near-death experience. And that was my big wake-up call. I knew something had to change. So I got a one-way ticket, moved from LA to Miami. And there, I actually started diving into a lot of things that I had pushed under the rug. So my healing journey was really for me. I got deep into healing, wellness, working with coaches, mentors, shamans, medicine women, psychedelics, plant medicine, meditated, got certified in meditation, breath work. And I actually built a organic community. I just started sharing a lot of what I was experiencing because I'm like, why isn't this taught? These simple things. And I, for the past 12 years, actually became a coach, hosted retreats, workshops, all on primarily for women to come back to themselves. And about 5-6 years ago, even though I was meditating for 2 hours or more, when I went out into the real world, I was still triggered. My body was feeling all of this. I had CPTSD. And I started going more into body-based healing and wellness, so somatics, nervous system work. And the more that I actually did it, it changed my life. I got certified in trauma-informed somatic coaching, breath work, started actually doing this work, traveling to do it. And it was actually my clients that led to this. So you don't always have to have the idea then. This was the evolution. So last year, actually on my 40th birthday, I started getting a lot of my clients asking for the same thing. So I would share practices with them. They would go to the retreat, but people, especially women, do not complete our stress cycles. We actually hold it in, or we disassociate or gaslight ourselves from feeling any of that. And so we push it off instead of completing it. We wait for the retreat, we wait for the weekend, we wait for all of that. And physiologically, all that cortisol and adrenaline builds up in your body. And stress is known to be the silent killer. It is actually responsible for a lot of things, autoimmune diseases, a lot of things that people don't know about. And they were asking me for support. They were like, what else can you give us to help when we're not on the coaching calls or retreats? And I was multiple 6 figures, really great. I was cushy. I'm like, this is great. But it kept coming up. And I actually started looking for an app that would support them. Could not find anything. Actually, what I found was that most wellness apps were founded by men and do not integrate women's health. And I just couldn't, in integrity, really recommend something to them that I felt was truly what could support them. And so I decided to build it. And that's how Somare came to be. So Somare is a somatic wellness platform and community that specifically helps you with on-demand, personalized nervous system support for individuals and corporations that integrate science-backed practices and women's health, because our hormones play a big part in our regulation, our stress. We have personalized information for perimenopause, menopause, post. And this is actually not my first tech company, and I'm actually really grateful that I'm doing this now in my 40s, because I was such a people pleaser back then, but now I am so focused. I know that I have the confidence to make this a unicorn company, and I have the connections too because of the years I've done it. And it really all goes back to what Brooke said. We don't know where our lives can take us, and this was really an unfolding because I listened to my community. And when I built my MVP, I already had customers and clients who gave me feedback, who were telling me what they needed. When we launched in January, we started becoming revenue producing because I built that trust with them. And now I can't announce it yet, but we have pilot programs with some really large companies to bring nervous system intelligence to the workplace, because studies have shown that leaders who are dysregulated affects the whole team. And well-being is actually so important to longevity. And the female nervous system, which only just got studied really the past 10 years, requires different things than what's been set up in the workplace. So that all came full circle. I'm back in tech. I left because it was toxic, and I was really happy in my wellness thing. So now I'm back because I truly believe that women actually, when we put the dots together, we build something with intention. And so what you are shipping today, I want you to build with intention. You don't have to build a big business or become a tech founder, but build with intention. Intention for yourself, intention for whoever it is that you're building for. It could be you, right? But build intentionally, not what you think other people want, but things that are connected to you, and then what your clients have, or our customers, or maybe that's you, ask you to. That way, you have more energy for it and passion, and it really becomes a vibe. So that's actually where vibe coding came from. One of the co-founders of OpenAI did a paper, actually in 2025, where he coined this word vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget the code even exists. And you can, it becomes so fun. Once you really learn how to clarify, build, and ship, which we will share, you will actually be building live. I'm going to go through this whole presentation first, and then we'll go step by step. I'll give a few minutes, we'll have music, and you guys can actually build. So by the end of this, you can have an idea and have a published product that we will feature on a Lovable site that I created called Built by Women. All right? Okay, so you get 100 credits, thank you to Lovable, for free to build. So open up Lovable, so lovable.dev on your laptops. Today we're going to be using both Lovable and Claude together. So Lovable uses Claude within Lovable, but I'm going to share with you how you're actually going to get the best prompting using Claude first and then building in Lovable. If you already have an account, you can still get the free credits by adding a new workspace. So you can build for free tonight. Thank you to Lovable. Woo-hoo. Amazing thing about Lovable, they're an amazing company. Before I actually became a global ambassador, I was already using it. I'd actually used 3 other vibe coding platforms, and it just didn't flow. I really didn't feel that vibiness to it. I didn't get into flow state. For me, I'm very I'm all about vibes and energy. I'm pretty intuitive. And so I actually, once I started on Lovable, I'm let me just try building something to see how it just worked so well. I actually finished it in 3 days because I was so in it. But you keep iterating. I have been updating this. We actually took it out of Lovable because we submitted it to the App Store, which is a completely different animal. But with Lovable, it just flowed so well. It was more intuitive. It was just a lot of fun. And I've built a lot of different things from Lovable since then. Okay. So in another browser, open up Claude.ai. These are the two tools that we will be using. And the beautiful part of this is that you can type it in or you can speak. So usually my setup at home when I'm vibe coding or using something is I have Lovable on one screen, Claude on another, and my phone, because I love just speaking to it. And I use them simultaneously.
Do we need to have the paid version of Claude, or is the free version?
The free version's fine. Yeah. So the beautiful thing is that instead of using it straight into Lovable, which you can burn a lot of credits, and I'll share with you, like with AI, you can really burn a lot of credits trying to prompt and trying to get something. So we're going to maximize where you burn less credits and are able to really refine. So what Brooke said, clarity is so important in the beginning. It's having a plan, like anything. Like you start a business, you need a business plan. You need clarity before you actually, build it and spend money. When you have more clarity, you build something better. So I use Claude to brainstorm, to help with writing the actual prompt, and there is a finesse to prompting. There's actually positions now they've made with like chief prompting engineers because prompting properly actually gets you different results. So knowing how to prompt is really key. So a few things. There's a lot of things that you can make. Don't think that you have to make the entire product now. Remember what Brooke said, just a little bit, because you iterate. I'm constantly iterating, right? But get it to a point where you feel happy with publishing it, and then you can go back and iterate. So there's so many uses for Lovable that you can actually, I stopped subscriptions for a lot of other things because I've just decided to build it for myself. I used to have Wix, which was really expensive for my website, and now it was like over 100 something, I don't know, it was just a lot. And I have canceled a lot of my other subscriptions because I've just been building a lot of it. My funnels, landing pages, you can do waitlist, quizzes. For your community, you can do resource libraries, community hubs, newsletters. It can be just for you or for others. So if you thought that you just use Lovable to build a whole big thing, which is amazing because you can become accidental founders, right? Which is beautiful because like I said, we need more women founders. You can build things like press kits, speaker pages, prototypes. It's amazing what you can build with it. And the more that you use it, the more that you'll actually become more creative and totally just like get into the vibe of creating. So I'm going to share just 3 case studies so you can see someone in maybe these examples. And all of them are actually not founders. They're doing this either for their clients or for themselves because they see problems and they wanted to come up with a solution. So I actually built by women. This is where whoever wants to also submit their product, you can submit it here, and it is a showcase globally. I'm actually sending this to Lovable. They'll market it. So if you want to share your built product after, this will all go into the directory so that more people can see what you're doing and creating. So Lana actually works for Google. She has her own career. She's working in that, but we are multi-hyphenated, right? And so we live in a beautiful world where we can start something that starts as a side business can end up being, you can found like a really amazing company. And so she was going to cons. There's a creativity conference for cons. And she was like, it was hard to find where everything was. It was actually similar sometimes to Tech Week. It was just too much, right? Too much information, thousands of events, and it didn't look pretty. I think women love aesthetics. Studies have shown that beauty actually affects us very positively. And so she's like, the spreadsheets were ugly. It was a problem. And so she's like, you know what, let me just do this for me. She did this for herself, okay? And it was fragmented, events were spread out, spreadsheets, all of this stuff. So she just built this. And it connects to people's schedules. You can find out where you're going. Some of her friends were there. And she actually just posted it on LinkedIn, and everyone's like, this is amazing, and started using it. But she built it for her, right? And it has all the details, information, all just very beautifully laid out with a map. So it can be as simple as that, right? What I built, I didn't know that it would become a B2B SaaS company, but I just kept listening to my clients, my customers, my community. It's actually how I ended up launching the feature for perimenopause, menopause, and post. Because at first we were only doing integrating menstrual cycles, and a lot of my clients and people who would go to my facilitation, my events, my retreats, ended up being 40s, 50s, 60s, and was like, I don't really relate to that. I'm kind of in this phase. Do you have things for us? Because we also need this tool. So I listened to that feedback, and I was able to iterate and create that feature for them. So Carmen created just a website for the sailing team. Not just, but an amazing sailing team. Before, they had a not so pretty website, and sailing teams couldn't land sponsors. It was static PDFs. It didn't have storytelling. And this is an all-women crew, and so she built this on Lovable. And it just looks more aesthetically pleasing. It's professional. It was branded. So you can do your own websites as well as do this for your clients. And then Anna is a community builder, product leader, and she also built something for parents. So her story is she watched parents, and she did this really for herself. She was a parent too, and all the other parents. They had outbreak days after exposure, and so she wanted to kind of track, like, who's getting sick, which kids. The parents could put in the data, so they'll find out like who's getting sick, and be able to sort of help each other out in the community. Like, how amazing is that? Right? All built on Lovable. All right. So hopefully that generates a lot of different ideas for everyone. And I'm going to go through the stages, and then we'll have you build. So the 3 stages are clarify, build, and ship. Clarify, and I'll dive deeper into this. And you'll also get these slides afterwards as well. We'll email everything out. So you get really define your goal, right? What do you want to create? Understand your audience, who's going to use it, and kind of think about a little bit of like the plan. Like you think through, right? Like you plan out your week or maybe your vacation, right? You kind of think through some of the things. It doesn't have to be exact, right? Because you'll iterate as you go, but just have a general idea before you actually put the prompt. And I'm gonna demonstrate how to do that. Then build is when you put the prompt and you're building it, and then you start iterating. Okay, you know what? This color actually doesn't look good. I want to add this section. I want to clean this up. I thought I wanted it to look this way, because sometimes what we think in our heads versus what comes out is like, let me tweak this. So that's like the building, the molding part, and you test. And then you launch, and it does not have to be perfect. It just needs to get to a point where it works. And after working with women for 20 years, a lot of things that stop us is we strive for perfection. Men go after things with only 40%, thinking that they know it or all that, and they just try it out. And you learn as you go, but women wait. I have friends, I have clients who built amazing things, but they're like, no, maybe I need to like change the font or do this. And I'm like, no, you just don't know until you go out there. So when I launched, it wasn't perfect. There was a lot more things that I wanted to do. Even in the app, there were so many other features, but I'm like, you know what? I'll wait for the people using it to tell me what they want and then iterate that. And actually your community will love that, because it signals that you actually are listening to them, right? And then shipping is where you iterate and you grow. So clarify. So I want you to pull up Claude. We're gonna use Claude first. And I'm gonna breeze through these slides, and then we're gonna go back to it. So it's your who, what, where, why, and the vibe. Once you have all that, so you'll be typing or talking through in Claude, kind of putting your ideas, filtering it. Once you come to a point where you're like, okay, this is kind of what I wanted to do and I'm ready, you have it create a markdown file. Because in Lovable, you can upload, when you put the prompt, upload a markdown file. You can upload, if you want, like a brand guide. You can upload examples of other websites to get a feel of, or pictures, and be like, okay, I want it to look similar to this, and here's sort of the directions, and then you put a prompt, and what it will give you is far better than if you just went straight to Lovable and said something with like, oh, build me an app. You will waste more credits with like refining it because it didn't have that information. So the who, what, why, and vibe. And I'm going to go through this and we'll go back, okay? I just want you to see the full picture, and then we'll go back. So who is this for? What does it need to do? Don't list 10 things. List 2 to 3. Features, what you want it to do. What's the goal? And try not to have too many goals, right? Because it's the paradox of options. When people go into that site, if there's 10 things that you want them to do, they'll come out. It's just like having too big of a menu and you're like, I don't know what to order. It's the paradox of options. So you want to be clear on the next step that you want them to do. And then vibe. How do you want people to feel? What type of colors? How, when they see it, how do you want them to perceive it, right? So that's the vibe. When you build, there's something called vague versus specific prompting. Vague is what I said, I want to build a wellness app. Prompting is, we will put the prompt, and I'll have an example here of the who, what, where, why vibe. I'll go through Lovable integrations, because that's one of the best things about Lovable is that it already has integrations with many other platforms so that you can seamlessly do it. When they first launched, you had to get the API keys, but now it's like a one click. It's amazing. And I'll show some examples of a few of the most popular integrations. When you put the prompt in and you're building it and you want to have a change, don't give it 10 things to do. One by one, or at least number it, 1, 2, 3. Because when you give it too much, when you're given 3 things to do at the same time, you're like, I don't know what to do first. It's not going to be as great as you want, and then you'll be prompting more and using more credits to change it. So one at a time. You want to be direct and clear. And again, I will be giving examples for all of these. And as I mentioned, working, not perfection. All right? My hope is for the end of all this, everyone will ship something and hit publish, okay, by the end of the night. And it actually won't take as long as you think. Usually, you're the one holding yourself back. And then when in doubt, just ask. You can ask Claude for clarity, ask the questions. And tonight, you can ask me. I'll be here walking around to answer any questions. So this is an example, vague versus specific. Here's a prompting playbook. And again, I will go back to this when we get into the part. These are the integrations. Supabase you must have, because that's if you do collect user base, you need somewhere to filter it safely, put all the information. So for example, even if you did a quiz, people are going to put their name and email. Lovable doesn't store it, Supabase does. And so this is always necessary. And it's already built in. So when you have the pro plan, it has the free version. When you make something a lot more robust, you have to pay for Supabase, but it comes with a free plan. Stripe, if you're going to start charging for something, they have an integration with Stripe. OpenAI for chatbots. I actually also use 11 Labs for our somatic guide has been rag trained through 11 Labs. And when I first started, I had to do the whole API keys, all this thing. Now it's just a click of a button and it connects. Yeah. Ship, the last thing is polishing. Run the security check, which Lovable will prompt you to do, and hit publish. And at the end, we will showcase it up in front so we can celebrate you. And don't be shy. We would love to see your products, all right? So who is ready to build? Yes, all right, okay.
Thank you for tuning into this special bonus behind the scenes episode. Huge shout out to our event host for the evening, Antler New York. Antler is a founder's first believer at their inception stage. They typically invest $600,000 in their first check. They back the most obsessed builders, and you can pitch for funding directly at antler.co/US. I'll be sure to link that in the show notes. And as we wrap up, I just want to say how much I love creating rooms like this. Meeting women at the edge of something new and helping them realize that their idea may be much closer than they realize to becoming real than they think. If you've been following the show, you know how much I love creating and leading experiences like this. I host events, moderate panels, guide workshops. I love helping shape these conversations that feel useful and blend into that space of personal development. If you're building an event series, planning a summit, putting together a panel, or looking for a host, moderator, or creative partner to help bring your event series to life, I would love to talk. Reach out to me directly. All of my links are in the show notes to get in contact. And if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, do that now because you don't want to miss out what's coming for season 2. There's a lot in motion, and I can't wait to bring you along. All right, see you next time. If you're tuning into this podcast, you're most likely an AI advocate, and you may have also wondered how to support your body against the invisible stress of EMFs. Think Wi-Fi, cell towers, or hours in front of your laptop. Leela Quantum products are lab-tested in triple-blind studies and are proven to help harmonize and neutralize EMF signals. Their products are the few things I felt a real energetic shift from. I personally wear their Quantum Energy necklace daily. And if you're someone who cares about optimizing your energy and nervous system like I do, explore their offers with my exclusive discount link below. Have you just started exploring AI and feel a bit overwhelmed? Don't worry, I've got you. Jump on a quick start call with me so you can walk away with a clear and personalized plan to move forward with more confidence and ease. Join my community of AI adopters like yourself. Plus, grab my free resources, including the AI Get Started guide, or try my How a AI Companion GPT. It pulls insights from my guest interviews along with global reports so you can stay ahead of the curve. Follow the link in the description below to get started.